Would you please explain to me how that sour-faced biddy ever managed to snag 3 husbands?
Just 3?
What did they see in her? She's rigid, boring, humorless.
Oh, wait, I always heard that Erica had a great sense of humor.
Hello? I'm talking about Brooke English here, the Medusa of Tempo. Just tell me where it's written that every woman I work for has to treat me like a contagious disease.
Do not panic. Come on, you just started. Maybe Brooke needs time to warm up.
So do polar ice caps. They will be melting in my lifetime.
It's not that bad.
I bounced in 10 minutes early with a spring in my step, told Brooke 3 hilarious jokes, and brought her a hot croissant. She rolled her eyes at the joke, turned her nose to the croissant, and spent all morning avoiding eye contact.
Oh, I'd count myself lucky if I were you. At least you don't have Wilma Marlowe on your back.
I did everything but kiss the hem of Brooke's skirt. She still treated me like a staph infection.
That's the way my mother always treats me.
Just tell me who she thinks she is. I don't know how I'm going to survive this job.
Cheer up. Who knows? Maybe Brooke will go on a long ocean cruise.
The Empress Catherine, a sybaritic year on the high seas. That's what I call a honeymoon.
Oh, it's not for me. Now, this is for Wilma, because I won't be safe until that ship leaves the dock. The only problem is getting her on board.
Wait, I thought you two made a pact.
Yeah, Hitler made a pact with England, too. Remember how that turned out? I've only got 3 weeks to come up with $62,000. That's what it's going to take to get my private Hitler on the voyage of her life.
$62,000. How does someone go about stealing that kind of cash?
Trevor, where do you keep the baking soda? I am doing something I haven't done in years.
What are you gonna do, brush your teeth? Cleaning out the refrigerator, maybe?
Oh, on my swollen ankle? Hardly. No, I am baking spicy hermits.
Yeah, well, I don't believe in eating hermits, no matter how spicy they are.
Now, very funny. I am talking cookies. You know, with cinnamon and nutmeg and walnuts.
Sounds good.
Jane has loved them ever since she was a little tiny girl.
How would you know?
Oh, it came up in some conversation. And I thought maybe I'd just surprise
Wilma, are they laced
her.
with cyanide, maybe? You've been on Jane's case ever since you walked in that door. Now all of a sudden, boom, you're making cookies for her. Hey, it's not for nothing that I was a detective, Wilma. What's the scam?
Well, I hope Dixie decides to give Dale her blessing and a kidney to match. How do you like them apples?
You having some sort of nervous breakdown?
No, I'm just looking past the individual trees at the whole big forest.
This isn't a forest, it's a family. And no niece of mine is going to go under the knife to save that son of Satan.
Well, he isn't a devil, Palmer. He's just a regular
I don't care
guy.
who he is or what he is. Dixie's future is all that matters.
Well, what if Dixie and Dale could both go on to live long and happy lives?
What if the moon were made of chicken fat?
Look, Dale is staking his future, his whole life on one kidney, right? So if one kidney is all that it takes, I mean, couldn't Dixie get along just fine without a pair?
I finally made up my mind. I know what I'm going to do.
Well, you've got my attention.
Well, I didn't go to Paris for fun, Dale. I thought about you and the transplant the whole time. It never left my mind for 5 straight minutes. Lainey and I sat up every night analyzing the pros and cons. She took me to a world-famous clinic outside Versailles, and we talked to a head of renal medicine there. He talked to us for hours. We brought him pages of questions. He gave us all kinds of literature. I'm telling you all of this to let you know that I didn't come by my decision lightly. I searched my heart, I really did. I gave it all I got. I'm so sorry to disappoint you, but I can't give you a kidney. My answer is no.
All My Children, brought to you by Crisco. Cooks who know, trust Crisco.
Your logic is alarmingly feeble.
Well, that's only because you disagree with me.
See, the fact that a person could sustain life on one kidney does not mean that Dixie should relinquish one of hers.
I'm just saying that it's safe.
See, there are people out there with only one arm or one leg. They're living full, productive lives. That doesn't mean that Dixie should sever one of her limbs.
Be quiet.
And you can see perfectly well with one eye. That doesn't mean that Dixie is going to have
You
to...
are being deliberately thick-headed here.
The point is the quality of life. So what if one kidney sustains life? It's not an optimal condition.
Well, it's a heck of a lot better than Dell's condition.
I don't care about Dell.
Dell is a human being, Palmer.
Well, that's debatable.
And he's Dixie's brother.
So they share a little dram of that weasel's blood. So what? They don't share anything else. Dixie is an absolutely wonderful person, and Dell is a conniving snake.
What, because he made a few mistakes? I mean, who hadn't? You sure made your share, and so have I.
I have never coveted anybody's body parts.
Well, that's only because you never needed any. You know, you keep trying to make Dell into some kind of a fiend.
He is.
And I finally figured out why. It's because it's a heck of a lot easier to condemn some fiend to death instead of a poor, sick boy. You know, if Dixie decides to grant Dell the gift of life, you just darn well better keep that big yap of yours closed good and tight.
This is the toughest decision that I've ever had to make. And the worst news I've ever had to give anybody. Are you all right?
Yeah, I'm okay.
You deserve to know what went on in my mind when I was trying to decide. I mean, that is, if you're interested.
Yeah, I am.
Well, first of all, I want you to know that this was my decision and nobody else's, all right? Tad did not pressure me. He told me what he thought, and then he just let up. But the one thing that he couldn't do was hide how afraid he was. I mean, it was always there. I could see it. That's one of the reasons that I went away to Paris, was to get away from that fear. From Tad's, from yours, from Uncle Palmer's, Opal's, mine. Lainey, on the other hand, is real calm, you know. She never panics about anything. Except when I got off the plane, I don't know, I found this Parisian instead of my sister. I mean, she was Lainey, all right, but she dresses differently, she talks differently. She took me to this little cafe outside the Rue de Saint-Germain, and there's this place where this awful mime imitates the passersby, and I thought this whole thing was ridiculous and obnoxious, and Lainey's laughing, you know, saying, oh, très amusant, right? Well, here I am, you know, jet-lagged with this awful decision hanging over my head, and the light hit her hair in a funny way. And she reached up to kind of brush it out of her eyes. It was a little flick of the wrist. It was the same thing that my mama used to do. And that's when it hit me. I know you. I know you. You're not a stranger. You're my sister. You're related to me. And then she started talking about this silly dress that we both wore. It was this red polka dot number that we wore to the country club. It made us look like a circus act. And we started laughing and talking until the tears were just coming down our cheeks. And I reached to take her hand, and instead I ended up hugging her within an inch of my life. She asked me what was wrong. I just, the more she asked me, the more I just started to ache inside. I would do anything for Lainey. I would give up my heart. I would give up a kidney. I would give up anything. Because no matter how French she gets, she'll always be my little sister. You know, when that bond is there, you know it. And when it's not, there's just no point in faking it.
And it's not there with me.
I'm so sorry. But way down deep, where it counts, you just don't feel like my brother.
Hello, Jane. Kendall.
If you're looking for Ted, he's not here.
I'm looking for you. Am I interrupting you?
No, not at all. Perfect timing. Give you a chance to interrogate Kendall and me on our friendship again.
I actually came to offer my sincere congratulations on your engagement. Trevor's a great guy. You're a lucky girl.
Well, actually, Trevor's the lucky one. Jane's an incredible catch.
You're right. Trevor's very special. Very special indeed. But who would know that better than you?
Yeah, I'm a big fan of the whole family.
Well, I'm going to be a member of the family very soon.
Oh, when is that exactly?
Well, we haven't set an exact date, but you'll be among the first 100 people to know.
Well, there's no rush, right? Your courtship was such a whirlwind.
I know, isn't it romantic? I mean, doesn't it fill even you with hope? Just a short time ago, Trevor and his family were in abject despair, and now this marvelous woman comes along and is going to fill the void in their lives. It takes an extraordinary woman to do that.
Yes, extraordinary. So, there was a robbery here at Orsini, huh?
No.
But you were talking about stealing a large sum of money.
Oh, that. Actually, you know what? I hope you don't mind, but Kendall and I were talking about you.
Pardon me?
Oh, Trevor's told me all about your daring exploits as a career criminal.
It sounds positively thrilling.
It wasn't.
I do have one question. You know, when you embezzled that large sum of money, did you do it in one lump sum, or did your sticky fingers grab it in dribbles and drabs?
What difference does it make?
Well, I'm just so sucked in by this lurid criminal story.
Then I guess you ought to subscribe to a crime magazine. My story is really not very interesting.
Oh, come on, don't be so modest. From what I've heard, Bonnie Parker had nothing on you.
Except a string of corpses.
Well, there was that one little incident with your first husband.
My goodness, you've done your research, haven't you?
Bonnie and Clyde ended up riddled with bullets, and you didn't even do hard time.
You must be incredibly gifted.
Yes, I mean, as a mild-mannered accountant, I'm completely fascinated by such a bold nonconformist.
You know, I am too.
As a law-abiding wage slave, who couldn't appreciate a good old tale of grand larceny?
Well, why don't you ask Trevor? You know, you're about to marry a very seasoned crime buster.
Yes, well, I wanted to get the criminal's point of view.
Didn't you meet any embezzlers at the state pen in your work with the Smedley League?
Not the smart ones. I mean, none of them are as talented as you. Or they wouldn't be in jail. So come on, if you were going to write a training manual, what would it include? The ABCs of white-collar theft. What's the most important thing for an embezzler to know?